point,
the
obviously, which we
sample
want
is
to
sent
drive
to
home also, Rakesh, that, when it comes to these cases, especially, a high-profile case like this, and there is a delay in taking the blood test. There are 2 blood samples which are taken. The second blood test happens in a gap of 3 to 4 hours. That does raise a lot of questions. We have Mr. Swapnil Kothari, senior lawyer, also joining us on the broadcast. So, you're a legal expert. First of all, help us understand what's the norm in such cases, and do you also find it extremely concerning that there are 2 blood samples taken? The second blood sample, there is a gap of 3 to 4 hours between the first and the second blood sample, sir?
Well, I think the gap itself is very astonishing, and why should there be 2 blood samples? That means there is some mischief being played, and imagine that the bail has come faster than the results of the blood sample. So that is what is most astonishing, and obviously it raises several questions as to how the investigation is being conducted, whether the investigation is being doctored, whether the investigation is being manipulated, managed by forces, by powers that be, or by several other forces which are beyond the pale of the law and order situation which prevails in Pune at the moment. So I think the questions that are raised by you and several other channels pertaining to these blood samples is a very pertinent question. Now, if I take a larger look at this scenario, okay, fair enough. What are you trying to prove with these blood samples? Are you trying to say that the person was not behind the wheel? Well, there are several eyewitnesses to the fact that he was there behind the wheel, number one. Number two, maybe you're trying to show that he was not drunk or intoxicated while driving. So that will only reduce one offense. That is not going to reduce your offense of 304, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. In fact, 304 could even escalate to 302, which is plain murder. It's a little difficult for the prosecution to prove that he had intention to murder or the requisite mens rea, because obviously he didn't know anybody in particular that he was going to kill someone, or that person in mind. But the point is that there is a legal several legal maxims come into play, several legal cases, precedents come into play, where suppose I know that there is a crowded market, say a Khan market, which is crowded, and if I drive a Porsche at 100 kilometers an hour there, I know that I'm bound to kill someone.
Yeah.
So now to say that I had no intention to kill that person who was buying particular 2 kgs of cauliflower from that vegetable vendor is absurd, because I know that I'm bound to kill someone or the other. So the thing is that it could escalate to 302, but suffice it to say that 304 is definitely in play, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Then at best you're going to try to say that he was not intoxicated. But then how do you manage his photographs in the bar, that he was there and he spent some 39,000-40,000 rupees for the bar bill? So obviously, what are you trying to show with those blood samples or with 2 blood samples? So it fails to beat me. I mean, it beats me. I do not understand as to what is the logic behind having 2 blood samples. What is the game behind it? And even if it is so, what does it achieve?
Exactly. Does it smell of a cover-up? That's the big question.
No, even if it does.
And it does raise some pertinent questions. So why don't you hold on to that thought? I'll come back to you. We also have Mr. Arvind Jain, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, with us, who's joined us on the phone line. Thank you, sir, for talking to Times Now. So we are just taking our viewers through the latest update, which we have access as to how there were 2 blood samples conducted on this minor accused. There was a gap of 4 to 5 hours between the first and the second blood sample. Help us understand, sir, what really is the norm? What does the police do in these cases, first of all?
In such cases in which 2 innocent people were killed in a road accident, blood sample should have been taken as early as possible. I am told that there was a deliberate delay of 8 hours in the name of that there was a large crowd outside the police station. They were busy with the police bandobast. They were busy handling the crowd. This is no excuse. Accused should have been taken for blood sampling, and blood sample should have been taken as early as possible, because as you all know that through urine it passes away within 8 hours. If it is not done within 8 hours, and I am told that sample was collected after 8 hours, why 2 samples were collected, I don't know. The sample should have been immediately sent. And if they think that case was very important, then they should have been sent to 2 different laboratories immediately. And same sample should have been sent to two laboratories instead of waiting for 4 hours and then taking another sample. There is a possibility that alcohol might not be found in the sample at all.
Yeah. And if that happens, then what? Swapnil Kothari, end of the day, the judge depends on hard facts, on reports, on the papers which are presented in front of the court. If, you go by these reports, we don't know what's in the report yet, but if there are 2 blood samples, which have been conducted, there is a delay possibly of 8 hours or more, then what happens?
Well, you have to go by a collection of evidence. Even if one evidence is deliberately tampered with, say, for example, a delay in taking the blood samples, and to show that the person was not under the influence of alcohol, what about the fact that he was at the bar? Was he just having, some groundnuts or peanuts? Well, obviously, that doesn't cost you 39,000 to 40,000 rupees worth of bill. So, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to tend to cover up the alcohol influence there. And even if it is so, that I'm going a step ahead, even if it is so, even if you show that he was not under the influence of alcohol, what are you going to say? That, well, he was in his full conscious mind, still he drove the car at 200 kilometers an hour and he killed 2 innocent people. So that does not detract from the fact. So I'm going a step ahead. The fact remains that 2 innocent people were killed. You were driving a car which you were not supposed to drive because you were not under at the driving age. You were driving at 2:15 a.m. in the morning. The car was unregistered.
No, so there's no denying that there are anomalies, and there is no denying, that this person is a minor. He didn't have, obviously a license to begin with, registration number. All of that, was absent. There are many other discrepancies which have been highlighted. But end of the day, why 2 blood samples? Why was there a gap between these blood samples? That's the big question everyone's asking. So thank you for joining us, with your views, Swapnil Kothari and also Arvind Jain. Rakesh is still live with us. Rakesh, what is it that the police is telling you exactly? Help us understand, for the benefit of our audiences, the exact timing of when the accident took place, when the accused were apprehended, when the first blood sample was conducted, and the delay between the first and the second blood sample, please.
Well, if I tell you the sequence of event which is known so far from the police sources, is that the accused along with his friends went for the party at 2 different clubs. As we all know, they went to the first club. They consumed allegedly alcohol there, and they left from there at around 12 midnight, and then they went to the another club from where they left at around they were there till 1 o'clock. And the accident happened at around 2 o'clock on that particular spot, and after that the local people apprehended. They caught the accused, and he was brought at the police station first. And at the same time, a team of police was also at the local hospital where the 2 victims were declared dead. And only after that the accused was
point taken, and only after that the first and the second blood test was conducted. Stay with us, Rakesh. SP Vaid, the former DGP of JNK, also with us. Sir, I'm sure you've gone through the Times Now Newsbreak. We've accessed some exclusive details on the Porsche horror case. Sources are telling us that when it comes to these blood samples, it was taken twice, and what's also very concerning is that there was a gap of 3 to 4 hours between these 2 blood samples. What do you have to say, sir, about this, first of all?
I think instead of jumping into conclusion, let's wait. I am confident of police pursuing the case. I think the police commissioner is personally following it, and let's wait. I'm sure the justice will be given to the to 2 precious lives who have been lost, and I think let's wait for. That's my personal view on this. Yes.
Okay, yes, sir, nobody is at the moment jumping to conclusions, but these are some very valid questions which we are asking SP Vaid, sir. Just one more question. Is this the norm? You say that, you have full faith in the police, but do you not feel that it's rather unusual for the police to take 2 blood samples to begin with?
Yes, but I think we must ask for the police response also why there's a gap, and I agree there should not have been a gap, but then we must listen to the police version also.
Fair enough, and nobody is denying that to the police, sir, and we'd love to hear their version as well. In fact, Rakesh has been taking us through what the police has to say. Praveen Dikshit, former DGP Maharashtra, also with us. Thank you, sir, for joining us on Times Now. What's the norm and precedence, sir, here in such cases? 2 blood samples, taken. There is a gap of 3 to 4 hours between the first and the second sample. Do you not find this concerning or disturbing at all, sir? Praveen Dixit, sir, can you hear us? Okay, we will be connecting with Praveen Dixit ji, former DGP of Maharashtra, very shortly. Meanwhile, taking our viewers through this news break and really the implication of the same. So basically, what we are telling you viewers is that sources are telling our colleague Rakesh is that when we speak of the minor, there were 2 blood samples which were taken of the accused or from the accused. To begin with, question number 1, why were there 2 blood samples taken? And second, of course, as to why there was a gap of 3 to 4 hours between these 2 samples. And the question